Good Maria and welcome to SC Global News. From the passing of an Italian-born sister who dedicated 65 years of her life serving indigenous children in Taiwan, affectionately known as Taiwan's Mother Teresa, to the release of a new documentary highlighting the life of Father Bob Bedrad, who survived a 1975 school shooting in Ottawa, Canada, we have many stories to cover. Italian-born sister Giuseppina Frania, who dedicated 65 years of her life to serving indigenous children in Taiwan's Hsinchu County, passed away at the age of 93 on May 30. Affectionately known as Mumu, meaning mother in Atayal tongue, she was a beloved figure in the community. Announcing her passing, Mayor Cheng Sha-fang described Sister Frania as Taiwan's equivalent to Mother Teresa.
Italian-born sister Giuseppina Frania, who spent 65 years of her life serving needy children in a remote village in northern Taiwan's Hsinchu County, passed away on May 30th at the age of 93. According to Focus Taiwan, Mayor Cheng Sha-fang announced the death of Sister Frania, stating that she was Taiwan's equivalent of Mother Teresa and had left a lasting legacy of love. Sister Frania was born in Sardinia, Italy in 1932. She came to Taiwan 65 years ago and dedicated her life to educating indigenous children in Hsinchu County's Jianxi Township and carrying out missionary work. She built a Catholic church and a kindergarten there and spent decades supporting and working for the upliftment of the indigenous Atayal people. She was affectionately called Mumu, meaning mother in the Atayal language. Sister Frania was given Taiwanese citizenship in 2017.
On May 31st, the Catholic Church beatified Sister Christopher Klumfas and 14 fellow sisters of St. Catherine who were martyred by the Soviet Red Army during World War II. The ceremony took place in Braniewo, Poland, where thousands gathered to honor the women's courage and sacrifice. The sisters, aged between 27 and 65, were remembered for staying with the sick and vulnerable despite knowing the danger, ultimately giving their lives for their faith and mission.
On Saturday, May 31st, the Catholic Church declared Sister Christopher Klumfas and her 14 companions, Polish Sisters of St. Catherine, blessed, recognizing their martyrdom at the hands of the Soviet Red Army during World War II. The beatification ceremony took place in the square next to St. Catherine's Basilica in Braniewo in the Archdiocese of Warmia. It was presided over by Cardinal Marcello Semeraro, prefect of the Dicastery for the Cause of Saints. Sister Christopher and her 14 companions were martyred between January 22nd and November 25th, 1945 during the Soviet occupation of East Prussia. The first to lay down their lives were the sisters at St. Mary's Hospital in Alston, who refused to abandon their patients and remained at their posts despite the advancing army. During the Red Army's invasion of East Prussia, over 100 sisters of the Congregation of St. Catherine were killed and 28 were deported deep into the Soviet Union. In 2004, the canonization process began at the diocesan level for 16 of those sisters. On March 14, 2024, the Dicastery for the Causes of Saints issued a decree confirming the martyrdom of Sister Christopher and her 14 companions. During the process, it was later determined that one of the sisters had died of typhus, not as a direct result of violence, and was therefore not included among the beatified. The 15 beatified martyrs were brutally beaten and raped before their deaths. Sister Christopher Klumfas and Sister Liberia Dominic were killed on January 22, 1945 in Alston. Others died in Soviet labor camps or during forced transport in locations including Kirsten, Lidzbark-Waminsky, Orneta, Gdansk, and Piwa. During the beatification mass, Cardinal Semeraro reflected on the deep emotional impact the sisters' story had on the cardinals and bishops when they met in March 2024 to review the case. The first reason for their reaction, he said, was the cruelty of the Red Army soldiers, which seemed to exceed all limits, trampling on human dignity without scruple, showing no respect for the dignity of these women or for their consecrated life. He continued, noting that the sisters responded with remarkable spiritual strength. They resisted oppression by the power of their weakness, he said. The blessed martyrs today affirm through their witness the eternal value of God and goodness, while their murderers are remembered only for their cruelty of the evil they committed, he said. Sister Angela Krupinska, a member of the congregation and author of a book on the Warmia martyrs, reflected, quote, "The greatness of these sisters lies in the fact that even knowing what the Red Army was doing to others, and especially to women in habits, they did not flee, but remained steadfast in their duty of care for the sick, children, and elderly," end quote. Thousands gathered for the occasion, including Archbishop Tadeusz Wojda, President of the Polish Bishops' Conference, Archbishop Józef Gurzyński, Metropolitan of Warmia, and Cardinals Stanislaw Dziwisz and Kazimierz Snisz.
Poland has elected a new president, with Catholic pro-life candidate Karol Nawrocki narrowly defeating his opponent in a tightly contested runoff. Backed by the Conservative Law and Justice Party, Nawrocki ran on a platform emphasizing Catholic values, traditional family structures, and national sovereignty. His victory signals a likely continuation of Poland's strict abortion laws and resistance to liberal social reforms.
Catholic pro-life candidate Karol Nawrocki has won the second round of Poland's presidential elections, succeeding Andrzej Duda as the country's seventh president. The right-wing historian and former head of Poland's Institute of National Remembrance won the closely contested race with 50.89% of the vote. His opponent, Warsaw's Liberal Mayor Rafał Trzaskowski, had declared his victory after the first round of exit polls on Sunday, May 1st. Meanwhile, Nawrocki urged his supporters not to lose hope. "We will win during the night. The difference is minimal," he said. "I believe that we will wake up tomorrow with President Karol Nawrocki." True to his prediction, the final result shifted overnight, securing his victory. Nawrocki ran with the support of Poland's Law and Justice Party, currently in opposition in parliament. A devout Catholic, Nawrocki upholds traditional Catholic family values and is a strong advocate of Polish sovereignty within the European Union. He has previously spoken out against abortion, stating, quote, "I would not sign a law that brings back the abortion compromise," end quote. He added, quote, "As a future president, I cannot permit the abortion of children with Down syndrome," end quote. Poland remains one of the few European countries with strict abortion laws. Abortion is legal only if the pregnancy endangers the mother's life or health, or if it results from a criminal act such as rape. While the presidency in Poland is largely ceremonial, the president holds the power to veto legislation. Outgoing President Andrzej Duda has consistently used this authority to block the ruling coalition's efforts at liberalization, especially regarding abortion laws. Nawrocki is expected to maintain a similar stance. He is also a vocal opponent of a bill to legalize civil partnerships between two consenting adults regardless of gender, introduced by Katarzyna Kotula. President Duda congratulated Nawrocki in a Twitter post on Sunday, writing, quote, "It was a difficult, sometimes painful, but incredibly courageous fight for Poland, for how the affairs of our homeland are to be conducted," end quote. He added, quote, "Thank you for this heroic fight until the last minute of the campaign," end quote.
The Marian month came to a close with a rosary prayer held in the Vatican Gardens on Saturday, May 31st. Pope Leo XIV joined the faithful to mark the end of the special period of devotion to the Blessed Virgin Mary. At 8 p.m. Rome time, Cardinal Mauro Gambetti led the procession through the Vatican Gardens, and the faithful began a candlelit procession praying the rosary as they made their way to the replica of the Grotto of the Lords. The Marian month concluded with a rosary prayer in the Vatican Gardens on Saturday, May 31st. Pope Leo XIV joined the faithful to mark the end of the special time of devotion to Mother Mary. At 8 p.m. Rome time, the faithful gathered outside the church of Santo Stefano degli Abbissini in the Vatican and began the candlelight procession, praying rosary as they walked to the replica of the Grotto of Lords. Cardinal Mauro Gambetti led the rosary procession through the Vatican Gardens. The procession followed the path of joyful mysteries, pausing at each point to reflect on a significant event in the lives of Jesus and Mary: the Annunciation, the Visitation, the Nativity, the Presentation in the Temple, and finding of Jesus in the Temple. The Holy Father joined the faithful at the end of the procession and gave a short address. The pontiff expressed his joy at being part of the vigil and described it as a gesture of faith through which, in a simple and devout way, we come together under Mary's loving and protective care as our spiritual Spiritual Mother. Pope Leo XIV also noted that the vigil reflected the spirit of the Jubilee year, before recalling the words of Saint John Paul II, who described the Rosary as a prayer with a Marian character and a Christological heart, which reflects the depth of the gospel message. The Holy Father further urged everyone to look their lives as a journey of faith and encouraged everyone to see their lives as a journey of following Jesus, one to be walked just as they had at the evening, together with Mary. He then invited the faithful to pray for the grace to praise Lord each day, not only through words but through the way they live their lives. The pontiff also thanked the cardinals, bishops, priests, and consecrated persons who attended the procession. A new documentary about Father Bob Bedrad's life is set to be released on June 8th. While teaching at Pius X High School in Ottawa, Canada, Father Bob survived a school shooting. It was at this event and the way Father Bob responded to it that inspired Kevin Dunn to create this film. Father Bob lived by a simple motto: give God permission. Dunn reflects that when we reflect to do so, despair can be transformed into hope. A hope that is active and alive paves the way for a church that is full of life. A new documentary film, Permission, Father Bob Bedard's Vision for the Church, will be released on June 8th. The film, directed and produced by Kevin Dunn, explores the inspiring story of a heroic priest who shielded his students from a school shooter. Father Robert Bedard, but most commonly known as Father Bob, a priest in the Diocese of Ottawa in Canada. On October 27, 1975, Father Bob was teaching his grade 13 religion class when a shooter, a grade 13 student itself, barged into the classroom and opened fire. As students threw themselves into the floor to hide, Father Bob jumped in front of the students and began to shield them with his body. 6 students were injured and one of them was fatally shot to death. The shooter then went back to the hallway and took his own life. After surviving the incident, he founded the order Companions of Cross in 1985 and began hosting a weekly evangelistic Catholic television broadcast called Food for Life in 1992, along with Father Roger Vandaker. The new film explores Father Bob's upbringing in Ottawa, his vocation to priesthood, his years as a high school teacher, and the founding of the Companions of the Cross, an order that now includes 59 members, both priests and seminarians. The documentary includes interviews with former students, fellow priests from his community, close friends, and colleagues. Film director Dunn shared that the school shooting Father Bob lived through and how he dealt with further inspired him to make the film. He further added, quote, that for me in the story of his life was a pivotal moment that really could have taken him in a very different direction, but instead he called upon the Lord, called upon the Holy Spirit, end quote. Dunn shared that Father Bob lived by a simple motto: give God permission. The same words have become the guiding principle in Dunn's own life as well. The film will be available to watch on June 8th for free directly on the film's website permissionthefilm.com. That's all for today. Until we meet again, God bless and thank you.